Let's go! Chiefs fans, this is my first Steve Spagnoulo breakdown, and I hate it because there's no Chris Jones for me to fawn over. You guys know that's probably my favorite Chief outside of Travis freaking Kelce, but we get to here to start things off. As you can see, this pocket is actually really good for Russell Wilson. Obviously, there is some pressure, but no big-time penetration whatsoever. So what actually happened on this play is quite a few things. The first thing is the personnel is very exotic. So the Steelers have them spread out on 3rd and 2, but take a look. It's Najee Harris as an outside receiver, Pat Freiermuth as an outside receiver, a blocking tight end, Washington out of Georgia, and you also have 81, who's also a blocking tight end in McCole Pruitt, and you have George Pickens right here. So George Pickens, this is a really good job by the Chiefs understanding if you're going to spread us out, we're going to stop your biggest receiving option. We're going to put 2 players on him. So Russell Wilson starts off flicking to the left, and Pickens is just covered. Okay, obviously not the best route in the world. Then you have the go route to the outside. Corners bailing out versus Najee Harris. So Russell Wilson's like, okay, I don't like that. Work back to the right side. Freiermuth covered. Washington covered. So where the ball needs to go is actually to the tight end Pruitt. So why didn't Russell Wilson throw it? Well, it's because Pruitt runs a 5.5 40-yard dash. It takes him forever to get to here on the skinny post. The safety is not over here enough. I looked at the all-22 of this play. This is where the ball should have been thrown. Would that have been completed? I don't know. Russell decides to not rip it. He spins out right into a sack. So if anything, that was good pass rush lane integrity, and you almost get a huge turnover to start this game. All right, so it's interesting when you looked at the PFF box score, the lowest, greatest tackler was Joshua Williams, the corner. All right, this is an easy bounce read right here for Najee Harris, and this should be, for an NFL corner, a tackle you should be able to make. And if anything, you've got to take a better angle and slow him down more than you did here. You see, there wasn't even that much resistance, and that will get you destroyed, obviously, when you're going up against Derrick Henry and company in the playoffs. And honestly, the coverage was just clamp city. You know, obviously, you look at this Chiefs skill position group, they lack that big receiver outside of Pickens. That was something that was expected. And if you're the Steelers, you probably like this route concept to get open, right? You have an in-breaker being run behind a vertical here from Pickens, and you would think that there would be more separation right here. This is really, really, really good DB play right here by 30 on the opposite side. It's also a really good job right here by Bolton trying to find work. Okay, so once he sees that Jaylen Warren is going into the flat and Tranquil's picking him up, you see he floats back into this window for an in-breaker. So Russell Wilson spins out and runs into a sack into George Karlaftis. Really, really, really good stuff. And then we get to this 3rd and Overland. You could see at the snap, it looks like this could be a variation of too high, but watch what happens. This safety, and this is something that Spagnoulo does a really good job of. Obviously, I'm not smart enough to fully break down all the intricacies of this. Cody Alexander, MatchyX, I think that's his name on Twitter, does a really good job of all of this. So this safety comes in, and now Reid becomes this deep safety on this middle of the field open coverage. All right, so this is really good stuff. It turns into 2-man under. It's man-to-man across the way with 2 high safeties, and Russell Wilson decides to just throw this up right here to George Pickens, who is just absolutely dominated right here. Okay, really, really, really good stuff. All righty, so we get to this play. McDuffie in press man coverage versus George Pickens. You had to know going into this game that this was going to be a matchup the Steelers are going to win at least once, and you'd prefer it to happen when you're up 13-0. Safety bails out to the center field right here, so Russell Wilson makes a good read on this play action fake to throw this football to George Pickens. But I want you to see the coverage right here from McDuffie. It's still really good, and is there a push-off right here? Maybe. Still, if they're completing that, You'll take that all day, every day as a defensive coordinator. The only thing you want to make sure you do is tackle the guy, which you do right here. Okay, really, really, really good stuff. Wasn't a good day tackling-wise for the Chiefs' standards, okay? They get heavy again, so they bring in Washington as a really good blocking tight end, and I love running away from the tight end into the boundary. It's just something I love to do, right? Because if you have this many gaps on this side, the Chiefs are going to account for all these gaps. So run it to the backside. You know, if you're looking at this pre-snap, you're thinking that they're going this way. The problem here is no Chris Jones, right? The guy just changes so much for this Chiefs defense, all right? So watch what actually happens here. It's 98 who's responsible for this play side B gap. Okay, the contain is taken care of here, and the problem is when you get to this spot, you would prefer Reid to be right here or 98 to be right here. They're in the same gap. So honestly, a lot of this just comes down to whose gap this actually is. I would put this more on Reid, if anything, but still 98 can't cross face, right? A lot of the better DTs, Cam Hayward's on the other side, they're able to, when they get to right here, see that the ball's not going there and then work back this way. I think that's what Reid was thinking was going to happen, but you never want this. This tackle, it's okay if you miss this one. This is one you've got to make, and, well, you're juked really bad. Jaylen Warren, though, is a really good running back, and it's a huge gain. All right, so number 98 is Tershawn Wharton. I normally go by jersey numbers because, well, we all know their jersey number. You can see that, okay? So this time, the Steelers last time ran the football to, away from the strength into the boundary. Guess what they decide to do this time? They are running a little counter play where it looks like they're running to the right, but it's actually wrapping around here to the left. And I want you to see this movement that they are getting on the DTs, okay? Wharton is getting absolutely smoked on this double. That allows this center to get to the second level on Bolton, obviously one of your better players, and Wharton's just getting pushed around here, and it's another 8 yards for the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, so Wharton, number 98, gets pushed back into Columbia yet again. And, well, it's just a little zone blocking play to the left. This is a good read by Jaylen Warren to cut this back to the right. And this was called holding. Y'all, that's not holding. I'm sorry. It's just not. It's just a guy dominating a guy. This honestly is really good stuff right here from Darnell Washington. You see him swipe this right arm in there to get inside this guy's pads, and then he just kind of throws him down to the ground. It wasn't a tug. It wasn't a pull down. This should have been a touchdown, right? Instead, it's nullified by the penalty. Then on the very next play, you get this call to go your way, okay? And then we get to the very next play, and it's Russell Wilson just throwing an INT. I mean, this is one of the worst throws of the season. This is actually more of a college type of play, a fake pitch into the boundary. It's something Lane Kiffin does a lot of. And he's just predetermining that this deep over is going to be open. And what I'm thinking what happened here was Russell Wilson thought that there was no safety to this side of the field. There was. He just didn't see him, which is why he thought this deep over was going to be wide open. It's the only way that this throw even makes sense, and it's picked off, okay? Not only is it picked off, I would have liked to have seen him return it, but still, it's just a bad throw. All right, so Russell Wilson gets the ball back, still down 13-0. There was a few good quick completions, but let's get back to this run defense, okay? This time, they're doing the same thing, right? This little wrap kind of counter play, and you're actually lead blocking with the tight end wrapping around here. The big thing, though, is just the push, right? Mike Dana is in this 3-tech, which is not where you want to be with the defensive end. Watch what they do to him. Bang, okay? Then this cuts off 98, who's having a tough game. He gets wrapped into the inside. The problem here is for the Steelers, Nick Bolton is just a beast. Look at how he's able to sort through all of this traffic right here, all right? Look at this. He scrapes over the top, and he's right there to tackle Warren. Now, it's a 5-yard gain, but watch him put his hands up in the air. We weren't lined up right, and we're getting pushed around. You know the phrase, good offense beats good defense? This is it. I mean, this is so freaking beautiful. So you just saw that little counter play. They show it again, but they play action out of it. And look at how much gravity this draws into the box. And then Pat Freiermuth, who's really, really, really good, going up against a corner with outside leverage to him. He's got to really shake and bake this corner, and he just kind of pushes him off of him, and he's open. All right? That's what a good running game can do for your play action. Now, you don't need a good running game for play action to work, but I do think it is more effective. All right, so this time the Steelers are saying, look, we're just going to run outside zone. Forget all this counter BS. We're just going outside. 98, he finally makes a really good play. Look at all this penetration, but at the last second, he, for some reason, thinks that Jaylen Warren is going to cut back to the inside. If he kept working this way, he's making a play. But he cuts to the inside. It's just not good football IQ right here. Shenault is getting kicked out. And the guy who actually makes this play is Nazia Johnson. Okay, I don't think I'm saying his name correctly. Whatever. Sometimes football just comes down to being scrappy. Okay, now watch what happens. He's holding outside contain. He forces Pat Freiermuth to miss the block. And then he wraps around here, and he gets just a piece on Jaylen Warren. Now, if he didn't get a piece right here, Warren is probably getting through here clean, making 21 miss again, and scoring. And this is bad form from 21. You are the safety. You've just got to hold him up. If you do this, you could just completely whiff and he'd keep going, right? Not good form right there, but still, good play by Johnson. 3rd and 8, this is not Spag's best work. All right, so in defense, you're always kind of sort of guessing, right? You can't get too exotic. There's too much pre-snap motion. So when you are calling a blitz this crazy, you need to hope that the other team doesn't have the perfect play call against it. So Karlaftis, his job is to run all the way over here and become the middle of the field intermediate defender, and that's tough versus a tight end like Freiermuth. Wilson sees it, Freiermuth sees it, he turns his head, and Russell throws an absolute perfect back shoulder ball right here, and there's just nothing Karlaftis can do, okay? Good tackle right there by Justin Reid. All right, and then we get to here, 2nd and goal. You get a play action fake, and you have a puller here, and my best guess is this was supposed to be a leak right here, and it is. Corner has it covered. So Russell Wilson just beats all the Chiefs players to the pylon. Okay? Now, part of this is on 69, who kind of loafed after knocking his guy to the ground right here, but he's never catching Russell Wilson. So now it's him versus Shenault for the pylon, and Russell Wilson wins that battle. All right, so this is very exotic. Your nose tackle is now Karlaftis and dropping back deep into coverage. And guess what? The Steelers' pass protection sorts it out. Okay? So Kansas City had not been getting good rush. It happens when you don't have Chris Jones out there. And now that your DT is back into coverage, it opens up the middle of the field right here. And Russell Wilson's able to pick up these yards with his legs. Really good stuff right there from Russell. Dana made a nice run stop on the play before this. There's roughly 2 minutes left to go. Chiefs get a little lucky. George Pickens was not down. This, honestly, is a good job by Justin Reid to get out into the flats, and he's trying to bat this football loose. They marked him down right here. He wasn't down. All right, so this is one of my favorite Spag reps of the day. 3rd and 9. A minute or so left to go in the first half. And he crowds the line of scrimmage again, but where it gets exotic is Tranquil actually becomes the flat defender. 2 becomes the deep half. 6, who goes center field pre-snap, is actually this deep half. So you're thinking potentially it's just cover 1 across the way, with go balls being the option that you want to throw. But it actually becomes cover 2. Right? So This is very interesting stuff. So Russell Wilson looks at this, and then he feels that he can get a whole shot in here, and this is covered by 2. The problem is athletically, if you're a single-digit playmaker, I need you to pick this football off. I mean, it just needs to be there. Look, his hips are turned, and he does do a good job adjusting and getting a hand on this, but he tips it straight up. It could have gone right into the hands of Mike Williams for a touchdown, but I do think a better corner is actually intercepting that. All righty, Chiefs fans, what did you think of my first Spags Only breakdown? I mean, look, I want to point out that the Steelers were ridiculously good on third down. You know, they averaged 3rd and 8, so to be 3 of 7 at this point is really good. You know, the corner opposite McDuffie is going to be an interesting thing to sort out. Isaiah Johnson, we were talking about a minute ago, gets cooked really badly right here by Calvin Austin. Obviously, there's going to be a lot better receivers. But, you know, Chris Jones just drastically changes this defense so freaking much, okay? So that means guys like George Karlaftis have got to play better. Now, he didn't get a good PFF grade. So George Karlaftis, bold decision to go with the inside move. If you're going to do the inside move, though, you've got to make the play. You've just got to make this play. It's difficult, and your DT right here should have done a better job getting around and not getting so stiff. And once you're done jumping, I need you to get back down, play a little harder than this, stay with the rep, and make this sack, okay? Couldn't do it. So the scramble game, I don't know, Chiefs. You let me know if this is your Achilles heel, because obviously, you know, your 2 biggest foes had 2 of the best scrambling quarterbacks of all time. Russell obviously is one of those guys in his prime, but Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are on a different level. Another weakness I think was exploited some in this game are these exotic calls where you have your DTs dropping back into coverage, right? This really didn't work, okay? It just didn't. This is not a good proposition right here for 69, Nandi, isn't that his name? Guarding Jaylen Warren, right? That's just never, ever, ever going to work. You know, but, you know, maybe that's something you should leave out of the playbook, but we'll see. And this will probably be the final play because, you know, Tomlin waved a white flag with the worst punt I've ever seen. This time you do get home with a nice interior blitz right here. Karlaftis does a good job retracing his steps, and this time he actually finishes, or kind of sort of finishes, the sack. Good job by 98, who we talked about quite a bit in the run game. Makes a really good play here in the passing game to force a field goal. But overall, what a great game from this Chiefs defense. It is Power Hour NFL. Boom. And tonight, we're doing some Thai Bam Bam Shrimp. Let's go.